talking so far about Neil's background and also about the activities of Chorus in the UK and in the United States. Neil, I'd like to turn our discussion now to a combination of where you see the challenges in policing internationally, the future challenges for policing internationally to lie, and what it is that Chorus is looking at in order better to help forces, possibly worldwide, to address some of those future challenges.
Okay, cool. Not an easy question, but I'll give it a go.
It's not. Fortunately, I'm the one asking the questions rather than trying to answer them.
So we're seeing it, pretty intensely, really, I guess, within Chorus and our client base. As we sort of previously said, we've got a really good understanding of the UK market. We're getting an improving understanding of the UK law enforcement market, but also on we've got a couple of federal clients, so we're starting to see their particular challenges. But at its heart, it's, from my perspective, just the exponential increase in digitally enabled crime, right? Particularly around conspiracy-based criminality, which is where Chorus tends to operate. Most crimes now have a digital element, whether it was plotting to do something or using certain social media platforms to orchestrate the actual act, or then also talk about it afterwards. So the police really can't cope with the amount of digitally enabled crime, and that's where Chorus comes in. And I think fundamentally the other challenge is the analytical community within traditional policing agencies is clearly not growing at the same rate of that exponential increase in digitally enabled crime. So in fact, the stark truth of the matter is the analytical community is shrinking. A lot of that expertise is leaving the public sector and going into the private sector. And I think generally the highly skilled analysts out there, whilst they're doing a great job, there's less of them. So what can we do to help them bridge that gap? That's really where Chorus comes in, I think, Bernard.
And that applies both to UK and US in your experience.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a little bit of a different mix in the US. I think the role of the analyst is, in a traditional UK sense, is slightly different. There's many more sort of frontline investigators that have to get involved in terms of unpicking those conspiracies. And then, as you mentioned earlier in our interview, the 20,000 policing agencies, some agencies will have no analytical capability. Some of the bigger agencies, you'd be surprised at how little analytical capability that they've got, unless you're in that sort of top tier, like the major cities, of which there's 70 agencies that class themselves as major cities. So, what we're trying to do is to put our technology, our next gen technology, in the hands of frontline investigators to mitigate those risks in terms of missing things. And we're basically democratizing the analytical function to frontline investigators, notwithstanding that we need and want the analyst to be an integral part of our mission rolling forwards.
So if I try to play that back to some degree, providing the analysts that remain, that may be a shrinking number, with increasingly powerful tools that allows them to achieve more with less resource, if you will.
Yeah, and then also, where you can, take the pressure off them, right? So if you give the tool that's more easily accessible because it's cloud-based, it's modern in terms of how a consumer wants to use the user interface, because most of the recruitment in the police are coming from, the youngsters of the world, so they're used to consuming IT in a way that we were never used to many years ago. So if you make the Chorus Intelligence Suite a solution that people want to use, and it makes sense to them, then clearly, we'll keep the analyst community happy, but we'll also put it into the hands of these next generation of digital investigators. That's really what gets us out of bed every day.
Well, did you ever imagine, Neil, when you first left school, as you were describing earlier on, that you would be sat in front of an Eric Cantona shirt, describing the Chorus Intel success in providing a fantastic service in the UK and an increasingly growing service in the United States as well?
Never in a million years, really. You know, I guess it's sort of down to the way that you want to serve the public sector, right? So, you know, as I said at the very start, I've always worked in and around the public sector. I like to think I'm a bit of a public servant, and now I get my kicks around helping those guys do their job better. But you're completely correct. When I started this journey in '91, you know, we didn't even have a mobile phone in our pocket, right? And now we're trying to connect those dots and using open source intelligence. You know, who knew that there was over 200 social media platforms out there that criminals like to take advantage of? You know, I still don't know half of them, right? But we're plugged into those to help better solve that sort of criminality. So who would have known?
Well, cliche alert, it's an ever-changing world, of course, and it will continue to change. I can see that you and colleagues have a great deal of work still to do in the United States. You've only scratched a part of the surface there. My suspicion is, and I'm not asking you this question, but my suspicion is that you won't be stopping at the United States, that actually there's much more of a world that and might benefit from Chorus Intel software. Maybe we can line up another conversation in a year or two's time, just to see how far further you and colleagues have got. So anyway, Neil, for the meantime, thank you so much for your time here on Policing TV. It's been fascinating to talk to you. As a Watford fan, I'm not entirely sort of buying into the Cantona shirt at the moment, but then sadly Watford are doing even worse than Man United. So
yeah, and long may it continue, eh?
Well, I don't know about that. Anyway, Neil, thank you so much. Very good to speak.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Ben.